A 15-year-old vanishes after leaving this note. Cindy Valle disappeared on August 26, 2011. At the time of her disappearance, she was 15 years old and about 5 to 6 months pregnant. Sydney was pregnant with a girl and planned to name her Selena. She wasn't due until December of that year. There's not a lot of information regarding her disappearance, but shortly after disappearing, her mother found a note under her pillow that said, "I'm living with a lady." Sydney has not been seen or heard from again. The lady mentioned in the note is still unknown, and there is no information about her baby's father. Jasmine Robinson was 23 years old and about 6 to 7 months pregnant when she went missing. Jasmine was last seen on February 18, 2019 in Archer, Florida. She had spoke with her sister via FaceTime early that morning, and when her grandmother had picked her up from work around 8 p.m. that night, Jasmine was in a bad mood and seemed irritated and upset. She spoke to her aunt for a bit and told her she was going to bed, but when her aunt came to pick her up the next morning to take her to her doctor's appointment as planned, Jasmine was gone. Jasmine wasn't reported missing until February 20th, a day later, which authorities say hampered the investigation. Jasmine's baby's father was legally married to someone else at the time and was never publicly identified. She was no longer with him, but was really excited to become a mother. It is reported that her baby's father was harassing her and bothering her, but there's not a lot of details about what specifically. Jasmine did get in trouble with the law in the fall of 2018. She had stolen someone's phone at a game and transferred money to her account. She was arrested and released on bond. She had a court date scheduled for shortly after she went missing. Her family stated she planned to change her plea and expected to serve probation and pay a restitution, and they do not think her disappearance had anything to do with the court case. Jasmine still has not been seen. Gentele Johnson was 15 years old and pregnant when she disappeared in Newark, Delaware on February 3, 2010. She left school early that day after being dropped off by her brother because she didn't feel well. She walked back home, and she apparently did arrive to her family's home, but when her brother came back to pick her up to go to a church function that day, she was gone. The apartment door was unlocked and there was no indication of forced entry or a struggle. Nothing was missing, not even Jenteyl's eyeglasses, her new purse, or her clothes. Her mother reported her missing at 10 p.m. that night. Her family believes she left the apartment voluntarily, intending to be back soon, but something prevented her from returning. After checking phone records, investigators found that the last person to call Jenteyl's cell phone was the father of her child. The 26-year-old unnamed man was reportedly questioned by police. However, he hasn't been considered to be a suspect in Jenteyl's missing persons case. Although the last place Jenteyl's cell phone pinged from was near the father of her unborn child's mother's home. Jenteyl's family admitted that she's run away only once before but quickly returned home. Everyone was accepting of her pregnancy and there was no hostility towards her being a teen mom. Police stated that she could be in Delaware, Philadelphia, Maryland, or New York in the company of an adult male. Janteyl still remains missing today. Nikki Lynn Forrest was 19 years old and about 4.5 months pregnant when she disappeared on September 25, 2010. At the time, she was living with her godmother, but they reportedly got into an argument about Nikki not following the house rules, which resulted in Nikki packing up her things and leaving. Nikki then left to stay with her ex-boyfriend, who is also suspected to be the father of her child. According to reports, Nikki was dropped off at one of her girlfriend's house and walked 3 blocks to her boyfriend's house. According to the boyfriend, the two got into an argument about the paternity of the kid once she arrived to the house. He then states that he gathered her belongings and told her she couldn't stay there, and she was picked up by a blue car and has never been seen again. The day Nikki went missing, she had texted her stepmom Tammy and told her that she was okay and that her and some friends were planning to move out of state. Tammy had custody of Nikki since she was 12 years old. Nikki's birth mother passed away before she was 12, and Tammy convinced Nikki's dad to give her custody since he was unfit to be her only parent. But once Nikki turned 18, she decided that she didn't want to live with Tammy anymore. Several days after Nikki went missing, an elderly couple found her purse on a covered bridge about 5 miles from where she was last seen. The purse contained her ID, medication, her food stamp card, and other personal items. The couple dropped off her purse at a Kroger and then left without giving their names. It is reported that the couple chose to drop off her purse at Kroger because that is where her medication came from. Authorities are still searching for this couple and would like to talk to them regarding this case. Nikki's boyfriend has not been publicly named, but in 2017, tips came in suggesting that the police should check out his property. Sniffer dogs were brought in and they were able to track the scent of human remains. However, there are no public details regarding what was found, but there was significant findings. Police state that they do not believe the body is at the residence, but they found other evidence to say that she had been there close to the time of her disappearance. Nikki had 3 miscarriages prior to this pregnancy and took regular medication. She was considered high risk and required 2 shots a day to prevent complications. Nikki still remains missing today.
What's the status of that investigation?
After digging nearly 5 feet into this Troy home's backyard, investigators did find some evidence, and they are going to process that, but they do not believe that Nikki Forrest is here.
I flew down here. I had so many different emotions.
It didn't take long for word to spread about the scene on Croydon Road. Nikki's childhood friend Ashley Allen says 7 years without knowing what happened to her friend is too long.
I want her to be found. That way her family can get answers, all her friends. I want to know what happened. I have a lot of questions about it.
It's those questions that brought police back to this house for a second time, digging a 4.5-foot hole, searching for any signs of Nikki.
Didn't find anything in reference to the excavation. We do have a couple small pieces of evidence that we're going to send off to the lab.
The digging started at 9 in the morning, and word of this active scene spread to Forrest's family.
It's a pretty emotional time. We've been wondering what happened to Nikki for over 7 years now. She lived with us for a while, so it's terrible.
Police believe this house is one of the last places Nikki was at before she went missing. The house itself remains a mystery for both police and family.
None at all. No, we don't know anything about this house at all.
Police are now turning to one of their other leads, and they need your help to continue this investigation.
Medical kit found out on Eldine Road. It was turned into the Kroger pharmacy in Piqua by an older gentleman who located it on Eldine Road.
Now police are asking anyone that knows that man, or if that man is watching right now, to please come forward so they can continue this investigation into the disappearance of Nikki Forrest. Live in Troy, Ethan Fitzgerald.